Hello, and today I'm going to show you how to create a Space Invaders game on Scratch. So to start off, we're going to create the, invader costume. To do this, we're just going to have convert it to bitmap, and please draw it better than I will. Okay, so now I've done that, let's set size to something seeable. Let's say 200, and now we're going to work on cloning these Space Invaders in order to make it so, they move across the screen and go down eventually, and they hit the walls. So we're going to use a custom block called create enemies. This will be for one without screen refresh. It's going to start all the way up here. We're going to make sure that this value matches this value here, and the Y position matches that value there, and as you see, they do. So now we're just going to repeat 10 times, create clone of myself, change X by, let's say, 20, no 40. As you can see, now we've got the invaders, but I think I prefer it if it was 35. Actually, let's make them a bit smaller and do 30. That's good. So now we're going to add another repeat block, and we're going to set Y back to, and we're going to set X back to -215. Then we're going to change Y by -30 here, and as you can see, that will now result in those invaders appearing. Let's make it so it's not going to move downwards too much. Let's make it so it's only going to do that 3 times. That's good. We're going to show before we create enemies, then we're going to hide. We're going to put that block there, and now we're going to program these enemies to move. Let's make it so they do correctly set their size to 150. That'll have to do. Let's actually increase the size a bit again. 175. There. That's good. So now we're going to, when I start as a clone, these things are going to move, change their X. They're going to move 30 steps, and to begin with, they're going to point in direction right. And they're going to move every second. And that's a bit horrible. There, that's better. And we're now going to put in a if on edge bounce script. Let's remove that for now and see where this is going to work. It is. They're all keeping formation as we want them to, but as you notice, they're not going down. So now we're just going to check whether it's touching the edge, and if that's the case, we're going to move it down by 15. Actually, let's move it down by 30. That's good. So now we're going to program it so these things can be destroyed by the bullets of our character. let's make sure that we're going to set the rotate style to don't rotate. And instead we're going to move it down by 1.75 times 11, which is the size of these characters in Y. And that will be 19.25. So we're going to change it by minus 19.25. Let's see if that's going to work. Yeah. What went wrong there? Well, 11 times 1.75 should give you that, but let's just put in minus 30 again. Oh yeah, we need to definitely do minus 30. Okay, so now we're going to, well, firstly I'm going to draw the player sprite. So now I've done that, I'm going to make sure the size is going to look right. So I'm going to set size to 150. That's good. And now I'm going to we're going to check whether left or right is pressed. And if that's the case, we're going to change. We're going to move 10 steps, and we're also going to move 10 steps when right is pressed. And we're going to do it, and we're going to set the direction to minus 90 when left is pressed, and we're going to set it to 90 when right is pressed. Make sure the rotation style is don't rotate. Now we need to make it so bullets can be shot at these aliens. So to do this, we're going to duplicate this flag script, and we're going to leave the if, but get rid of everything else. That'll do. And we're going to check whether mouse is down, and if that's the case, we're then going to wait 0.1 seconds, but we're going to create a clone before we do that. And as you can see now, it's going to cause multiple different these cannons to appear, but we don't want that, we want bullets to appear. So what we're going to do is set costume to the bullet costume. And then we're going to, and now you can see that bullets are being created, but they're not doing anything. So when a bullet is created, we're going to forever change Y by 20, or let's say 15. As you can see now, bullets being fired. But I think I would want them to occur much more sporadically than that. So let's say every 0.5 seconds, 0.75 maybe. And if it's touching the edge, it's going to delete this clone. We're also going to make it so it's going to delete this clone when it's touching sprite 1. But we're going to have a bit of a delay in there to make sure that sprite 1 has the chance to react to the bullet. Let's make sure that we set the costume when the game is began to the cannon, and that cannon is always going to start at this position at 0. Let's say minus 160. That's good. Let's change that to space. Okay. And now we're going to program it so these aliens are going to be destroyed when a bullet is touching them. That is now working. But let's make sure that we set ghost effect to 99 there in order to prevent it from being able to be seen when when the bullet is fired, well, hits the alien. And now we can create bullets, and now we have to implement something to allow us to check whether the player has won or not. To do this, we're going to create a new variable, but let's call it total number of aliens. We'll set it to 0 here, but when a clone is created, we're going to change it by 1. And when we delete that clone, it's going to change it by -1. So we're going to now check whether that is less than 1, and if that's the case, the player must have won. So we'll put that script in there, and if that's the case, the player is going to say, well done. Let's not make that less than 0, let's make it less than 1. And then everything is going to be stopped, and every other script in the sprite will also be stopped. Drag that script over to here in order to move it into sprite 1, the alien sprite, and then just get rid of that other part and stop the script here instead. And now we can play Space Invaders to an extent. Now we're going to implement a way for the player to lose. So we're now going to also check whether the player is touching sprite 1. If that's the case, then the player is then going to say, you lose, and then everything will be stopped. Let's remove this, wait 1 second, and see if that script's working. Nope, and this is why. Let's just change the color of the bullet to, let's change the color of the cannon to, let's say, this green. And it's now going to check whether it's not touching that particular color when it's touching sprite 2 in order to avoid the bullets from causing issues. That's working. Now we're going to change that to an if else and put that there, and we'll do that, but we're going to now stop other sprites and script, and then stop the script. And we'll also broadcast a message 1 here, and then when message 1 is received here, it's going to stop all all actions and scripts in the sprite. And now we should see that if this should work, hopefully. Of which it did not. Okay, let's change this color to let's say orange instead. And now, hopefully, it's going to work. Let's swap that out. And change that color back, as we do want it to be green. Whoops. Make sure like you broadcast it in there and not there. As you can see, that's now working. And that will conclude this part of the tutorial. Mattant, please cut this outro out. We do not want it. We will conclude the video in the other way. No. And that will conclude the tutorial. So you could add a timer to this to wait. We need to make sure to wait 1 second there. And now it's complete. So you could do something like adding a timer, which is if a player gets less than let's say minimum time taken in the world, the player's time would then be set to that. The minimum time would then be set to that player's score. So about time. So a sort of high score idea, I suppose, and that there are plenty of other things you could do, like some barriers to prevent the player from being able to shoot, and other things like that. But feel free to subscribe and like if you want. Bye.